Hello everyone. In the last lecture where we were looking at examples of finite groups, at the end we looked at the set Zn with respect to multiplication modulo n, and we saw that this group falls short of the properties because the inverse for every element does not exist for every element. Definitely 0 bar is one such element, but there could be many other elements also which do not have inverses for multiplication. But we observed that the prime residue classes are the ones which have inverses for multiplication. So if we take the set of prime residue classes of integers modulo n, then this set becomes a group with respect to multiplication modulo n. However, for addition modulo n, there are absolutely no problems whatsoever. So if I look at the set of residue classes with respect to the operation of addition modulo n, then this is a binary operation. It is associative. I know that identity is 0 bar, and as we have discussed in an earlier lecture, the inverse of every element a bar in Zn with respect to addition modulo n is n minus a bar. Also, addition modulo n is commutative. So this is an example of a finite abelian group, and the order of this group is equal to n. Finally, we are going to look at one important example of a finite group, because in the last lecture towards the end, in the last two lectures, I asked you all to come up with examples of all combinations of finite, infinite, abelian, non-abelian groups. So the last example that I am going to give in finite groups is an example of a finite non-abelian group. We take Q8 to contain these 8 elements denoted by +1, plus minus I, plus j, minus j, plus k and minus k. So there are 8 elements in this set, and there is an operation defined on this set for which the composition table looks like this. I'll give you a memory trick for remembering how this table works. For 1 and minus 1, think of it like usual multiplication. So if I multiply any element with 1, I'm going to get exactly the same element. If I multiply every element with minus 1, only the sign is going to change. So this is what I will get in my second row. Also in the first column, I'll get I minus I, j minus j, k minus k. Do not do this for columns beyond 2. We'll see later why. Now for I square, j square and k square, you must remember that I square, j square and k square are all equal to -1. And when you are going to combine I, j, k with each other, this is the rule that we are going to follow. So if it is I into j, see the way I have put the direction of the arrows, it's like the cross product. So if it is I into j, since we are following the direction of the arrow, I into j will be k. However, if I look at j into I, since I am going against the direction of the arrow, it will be minus k. Similarly, if you look at k into I, since it follows the direction of the arrow, k into I will be the third element j, and if it is I into k, since we are going against the direction of the arrow, it will be minus of the third element. So this is how you remember how to construct the composition table for Q8. So firstly, I into I is I square, which is minus 1. So I into minus I will become plus 1. Then look at this thing, I into j is plus k, I into j will be minus k, I into k goes against the direction of the arrow, so this will be minus j and this will be plus j. An easy way to do this is next, with minus I signs will change. So this is plus k, this will be minus k plus j minus j. And then with j into I against the direction of the arrow. So this will be minus k, this will be plus k. J into j is minus 1. So this will be plus 1. J into k goes along the direction of the arrow. So it will be plus I. This will be minus I. Again for minus j, the signs only will change. Then for k into I is j. This will be minus j. And k into j against the direction of the arrow. So minus I plus I. K into k is minus 1 plus 1. Next row signs will change. So minus j plus I minus I plus 1 and minus 1. So this is how the composition table works. And you can see that it is a binary operation because all entries in the body of the table are from the given set. Well, associative property is a big question mark, but there is a remark that I'll make at the end from where it will be easier. See, if you have to verify the associative property using this table, it's going to be a tremendous task because we will have to prove that x star bracket y star z is equal to bracket x star y star z, and this will have to be satisfied for all x, all y and all z in this set. So for x we have 8 choices, for y we have 8 choices, for z we have 8 choices. So totally I will end up verifying so many equations before I can conclude that the associative property is satisfied. Therefore, again at the moment, just take my word for it, this operation is associative. And you can see that 1 is identity because the row corresponding to 1 is the same as the heading row. And let us quickly list inverses. So I prefer to always make a table for inverses. 1 minus 1, I minus I, j minus j, k and minus k. Look for the identity that is 1 in every row. So here, element above that in the heading row is 1. For minus 1, I have the identity here. Element directly above that in the heading row is minus 1. For I get the identity here. Element directly above that in the heading row is minus I. This will be I. This will be minus j, minus k and plus k. You can verify. So every element in this set has an inverse with respect to the given operation. Therefore, this is a group. This is a finite group and order of this group is 8. This group is in fact called the group of quaternions. So this also is going to be a very important example for us. In fact, it is going to be a very important counter example for us. Many a times when we want to prove some result is not true and you need an example to prove that it is not true, then especially if you are looking for a non-abelian group, you can think of the group of quaternions. And coming to the final commutative, I've already told you at the beginning it's not commutative, but let us actually verify whether it is commutative or no. So even if I don't look at the table, remember how that multiplication goes. I into j is k. But what happens to j into I? We would be going in the direction opposite of the arrow. So I into j is not the same as j into I. Therefore, this is a non-abelian group. So this is an important example of a finite non-abelian group. This is a group of order 8 and it is called as the group of quaternions. Now I mentioned something about the associative property. So it is worthwhile noting that this set Q8 can actually be thought of as a subset of R raised to 4. Remember, in R raised to 4, every element is going to be an ordered 4 tuple. So this is what it is going to look like. These ordered 4 tuples can also be, this particular ordered tuple can also be written as A1 plus A2i plus A3j plus A4k, and then keeping in mind these operations that I told you about, I square is equal to j square is equal to k square is minus 1, and remember that circle that I drew for I into j, I into k into I, and so on. So keeping that in mind, it will be fairly easy to work out what would be the product between these two elements, and using this as the formula for the product, it will be much easier to prove this property in general for R raised to 4. And since this operation is induced in Q8, automatically it will also be associative in Q8. So you can figure out what exactly is this product by keeping that in mind, and then the associative property will be inherited by Q8. So Q8 becomes a group. As I said before also, this is an important example of a finite non-abelian group. And in the next lecture, we will start with the properties of groups. But for the moment, that's all. Thank you.